Hey folks, welcome to the Big Money Detailer podcast. And again, today we are doing something special because I believe that you should not only learn from us at Big Money Detailer, but you should learn from other detailers just like you. And today, man, I am pumped up because I got the man, the myth, the legend. I got Spencer Olmstead here from Marion, Iowa. So let's dive in. You ready to rock and roll, Spencer?
I am.
All right, man. Always the first question I love to ask is like, why and how? Why and how'd you get into detailing, man?
It started off when I was young, 16 years old. My first job was at Mr. Car Wash. Since then, I just drew more and more into the car enthusiastic and wanted to become, more into it. So not only did I learn the chemical side of things, but I also learned the exterior side, and then eventually I got into interior. And after that, I wanted to go further, so I started my own business, started learning how to do ceramic coating.
That's great. So again, the this what were you doing before you started the quote part-time washing and detailing cars?
I got started in that very early. Like there's no other before or after. I mean, I got into it and I fell in love with it right away. I mean, there was no before, there's no after. I just jumped in, plain and
All in
simple,
detailing, baby. All in, right?
pretty much all in detail. Like that first day when I was at the car wash, I mean, I learned basically almost there was anything about a car wash. From then, I just couldn't get off of it.
That's
I
good.
tried, I went construction, I went to, restaurant, but since then, yeah, I couldn't
Yeah.
move it past it.
Perfect. Yeah, like it's a lot of like the folks that are in my coaching program, et cetera. If some of the new listeners who may be joining the podcast for the first time, our son Dylan runs the Affluent Auto Spa here in San Antonio, Texas, and he's blessed to have me as his father, but also as his mentor. But one of the big things is, even when I do my keynote talks all over the country, one of the things I always say, Spencer, is I say, "Hey, man, if you could live your passion and you're doing stuff you love to do." And oh, by the way, you happen to get paid what you're actually worth. Like, I don't know if there's anything better than that, right? Doing what you love and then being paid appropriately for the great work you're doing so you can support your family, your charities, and whatever else important. So thanks for sharing that. All right, next one. We're gonna go to the other side of the spectrum here. Let's talk about like of all these years you've been doing it, what's one big, whatever word you want to use? I'll use mistake because the listeners know what a mistake is, but what's one big mistake you made? And more importantly, what did you learn from that mistake?
It would be very simple. I started sanding a car with no training, no experience behind it. I just jumped in it because I watched a ton of YouTube videos, and there's the mistake. Don't take a YouTube video and just roll with it. I think you need to go further and get yourself a mentor or get someone that knows how to do it deeply because it doesn't take a lot to sand a car and to ruin the paint. But yeah, that was my mistake. It was a small spot, about 2 inches big, nothing terrible. So lucky enough, I knew a guy that knows how to paint cars, and he was able to do it free of charge. And yeah, I mean, we still got the customer to pay. We still got the customer to be happy with us and use our service later on. But we were upfront, we were honest, and I told him from the start too, like, this is a test drive. There's no guarantee I'm going to make it right. So
That's
it
great.
was
Well,
all me.
that brings up another key lesson for everyone listening to the podcast is, hey man, let's just go back 10 years ago. 10 years ago, let's just say there was a lot less content training, free, free training available, right? And then these days, everybody and their uncle and aunt seems to have some kind of a training program. The key point, I think, in all my years, decades of experience in coaching and mentoring business owners is, you need to learn from people who have been there, done
Yep.
that. And most people stop there, learn from people who've been there, done that, but also learn from people that are still doing it today and make sure you're learning from the right people. Because these days, you could watch a video, you could watch a post, you can listen to a podcast, whatever. And how do you know that information is 100% accurate? So it's always good to vet that out. As a matter of fact, that's funny because my pastor, as a matter of fact, I have a foundation called Pastor 360. Its mission is to make life and ministry better for pastors. And one of my co-founders, Pastor Kiesnick, says this to me: learn to shave on another man's face. And I had to think about that for a while, Spencer. I'm like, I don't know what the hell that means, Pastor Kiesnick. He goes, well, listen, learn to shave on my face. In other words, let me show you all the cuts I've had so you don't make the same cuts on your face. And it's the same thing of what you're saying is that knowledge, skill, and ability to do the great stuff that you need to be doing as a detailer, you got to make sure that you do it the right way. So I appreciate you sharing that big lesson. All right, next one.
Uh,
Go ahead.
For anybody that's listening, really find yourself a mentor, rather as a certified mentor or someone that's been in it for 15, 20 some years. Find someone and learn all their knowledge.
Yeah,
They're
absolutely.
going to help you exceed. Don't be afraid to reach out and don't be embarrassed either because at the end of the day, detail, you need to start thinking more of a community base. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, we're competitors, but at the same time, if we can learn the same knowledge and gain the same knowledge, I think we can all exceed in the world.
Amen. Amen. The pie is big enough for everybody, man. I mean, if you do the math on the millions and millions and millions of cars that there are, even in your local market, having a good marketing system that brings you those clients, number one, and number two, which we talked about before we started the podcast, is keeping them coming back for more, having them. I use the word introduce. Have them introduce you to others, either in their community or their family or whatever. That's really where the magic begins. That brings up the next question, man. This is a tough one for most people to answer because I'm going to ask you for one, just one. But what is like your superpower, man? What is like the one thing you're like, got that? I'm like, I wear a cape because I'm so good at that. And again, I know you're a humble guy, but please share that with the others as well. What's your superpower?
So I like to say it's ceramic coating, but it's not. My superpower is interior. I can definitely get almost 90% of all stains out of carpets. It doesn't get past me. I mean, I know all the nips and tricks and everything that needs to go in between. Well, really needs to clean interior. So I think my superpower is interior cleaning. I can definitely make that interior look new, if not like new again. I mean, I know a lot of detail like to say ceramic coating is their power, but I don't know. I think we're in a world now where just trying to get 100% of that paint correction is not possible these days. And if we look back 10 years ago, paint used to be thick and stuff, but nowadays they're coming off the factory thin.
Hmm.
Not a lot you can do there. So is that really a power? I wouldn't say so because if you can't do a lot, but just apply coating, everyone can do that.
Good.
So
Yeah, that's really good. Again, I did go over your website before the podcast today, but just make a little note, like that's your superpower for everybody listening. Here's the thing. Whatever your superpower is, what sets you apart from your local competitors, that needs to be front center and like fireworks bouncing off your social media pages or in your case, the website, whatever it might be. So if that is truly your superpower, make sure you're amping that up. A little call out, obviously some testimonials from customers about, man, before I called Spencer, my interior was look like blank, whatever that looked like. And now that Spencer has taken care of my interior, so anything you can do to reinforce the superpower that you have in your marketing, in your sales efforts, and in your consultations that you're doing, that helps set you apart from everyone else. And again, you start with an interior, but obviously when you do a great job there, then it leads to other conversations, right? I call them sales versations, by the way. So we're going to focus on the interior, let's say on Davy's Lincoln Aviator. And then once we get the interior, we can have a sales versation about what else we could do to serve that particular vehicle, whether it's a ceramic coating, whatever it might be. But you have to make sure you deliver on your superpower first, which in your case is interiors. Okay, cool. Anything else on that, buddy?
I have to say this as almost 9 out of 10 times detailers, they're listing ceramic coating as their most sales thing. And if you haven't checked any details in the area, almost all of them will say that they're doing ceramic coating and no interior.
Hmm.
I say roll out that interior again, bring it back.
Yeah.
You can make just as much as the same amount of money as a ceramic coating package. I got customers, been booking with me and paying almost $800 to $900 on interior, even close to $1,500 just to ceramic coat their interior. It's
Hmm.
still the same thing. I can still get almost about the same amount of money as a ceramic coater. So if you have to roll back, bring back old stuff, really perform really well on interior or perform on exterior well. I mean, ceramic coating is a good thing. It's a big thing. It brings a lot of money. But if you can bring back the old stuff, the old days, and make that your number one, you can make just a bunch of more money too.
Yeah, that's good. So that kind of brings up another key point for our listeners, right? Is um, I'm a fast food junkie, so I'm just gonna lay it out there. So when I go in, I got like 1 through 12. I want meal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there's a buffet of ideas, right? There's a buffet of food options. And I think that what you're touching on, Spencer, is important in terms of if you're a one-trick pony and you only market your ceramic coating as an example, which is, again, to your point, ceramic coatings are great. But on the other hand, if I'm a customer who thinks, keyword, thinks that I just want an interior and that's not part of the buffet, then guess what? They'll move to the next detailer. They'll call someone else. So in your case,
Well,
you have a whole buffet. I saw your website. You have a whole buffet of different options, which I'll call entry points for customers. So if they're looking for interior detailing, good. Let's come into our detailing business from an interior perspective. If you're looking for maybe headlight restoration, I'll just go to the other end of the spectrum. Whatever they're looking for on the buffet, let them pick and choose from the buffet what they want. Don't just give them one or two choices. So that's really powerful. Thanks for sharing that one. How about this one, man? Was there ever a point where you wanted to give up and go like, you know what? I love what I'm doing, man, but and we all have those days. I'm just talking about that maybe little percent of the time where you were like, I'm just going to throw my hands up. Tell me about that. And how'd you get through it?
that that question gets brought up with me and my wife probably maybe every other month. We have a slow month, we have a busy month. During those slow months, you spend, 15, 20, maybe 30 days thinking in your head, I'm not going to get another call. I'm not going to get another detail. But almost every single time I get proven wrong.
Yeah.
I just actually recently, last month, we had almost a week and a half of no work. And I thought I was going to throw in the towel. Honestly, I was like, I'm going to go find a job and back in, construction, making, the money again. And next week rolled around, we were busy. I've seen a well over 15,000 some dollar revenue in just 2.5 weeks, which is amazing. It paid for my slow month and my next month. So it's just it's one of those things that you gotta really just put your feet down, stay calm. It sounds like you're a preacher man yourself. Really put some faith in it. Let God take the wheel sometimes, and just be calm. Don't stress out too much. And again, like I said with the old conversation, bring back old stuff. Offer single, wash for just $100. Whatever is going to get you, cars to come in your door. Do that.
For sure, for sure. And I think the other big part about that whole discussion, and we could spend a day. As a matter of fact, when folks come to my home training center upstairs, we spend 2 days diving into these particular details. It's called the 2-day profit intensive. And one of the things we dive into on that, Spencer, is the fact of, well, let me give you my quote first, and then I'll tell you how that relates. One of the quotes I've been saying now for decades is the amount of stress you feel in your life is in direct correlation to the lack of systems that you have in place. So let me say that again. The amount of stress you feel, whether it's your personal life, whether it's your business life, the amount of stress you feel, like those slow months or those slow weeks, is in direct correlation to the lack of systems you have in place. And that is a very important part that I really hammer home to all of our coaching members is do a temperature check on, if you listen to the podcast, do a temperature check on that. Do you have a system that is reliable? It's kind of like making chocolate chip cookies. Do you have the same recipe that you use that brings you a constant flow of clients for your detailing services? Whether it's headlight restoration, interior, ceramic coating, do you have a system for that? And if the answer is not really, then that would be a good place to start to really start looking at what kind of system can I have in place that's like lather, rinse, repeat, right? Like most people wash their hair every day, lather, rinse, repeat. It just happens over and over again. And that system for that ongoing flow of customers coming into the business is fantastic. So definitely, and again, like I mentioned earlier, we'll dive into that after the podcast. I got a couple ideas for you on that. Well, that's a big one, man. It's the roller coaster. Had a great week, great month, low week, whatever it happens to be. So being able to have more consistency in that revenue is certainly something that every listener should take a strong look at and figure out how do I have a system in place to have that constant flow of not just new customers, but also how am I activating and keeping the customers that I have. One quick tip on that is just, I'm sure people love you, but they ain't waking up in the morning going, oh, I'm thinking about Spencer this morning. I think I'll just reach out to him. So you've got to have a system in place to constantly remind them that you are there to serve them. And that would be a very big takeaway from that one. All right, next one, man. As far as like mistakes. We talked about that. We talked about your superpower. Let's go back to like the first month. And I know that might be a while ago, but I want you to think about this because here I'm going to give you the teaching point first, and then I want you to expand on it.
Okay.
Sometimes things work so well, we stop doing them. It's like that's why I'm going to take you back in your mind when you first started. Like what that first month. Talk to me about the stuff you did, and just as important, how have you continued or made those things better to continue to do them today? So the first month of business, what did you do, man?
Well, it's pretty simple. The first thing I did when I first started was obviously there's three key points. The number one is I got on social media, I got on Facebook, and I joined all the local support groups. Right, it's your city support groups, small business support groups, anything support group. I got on them. I joined them. I joined them under my business page, not my personal page. And then I just obviously I follow the guidelines and the rules of their Facebook, group. But I got on there and I posted as much as I can throughout the day or every other day. Hey, we're here. We're offering detail service. Come use us. Yada yada. We got a good amount of customers through that way. The second way is we went to quite a few car shows. We put not a table, I should say. Some car shows are particular about that, but we sat out there with our business logo, t-shirts, signs, whatever it is. When I started, I just went out there with a t-shirt. I had my car reader around my neck, and then brochures to explain what we offer, what service we had. And I've had people come up to me and say, "Hey, I read your shirt. You offer detail. So yeah, here's the brochure. Explain it. Yada yada." And I took their payment right there on the spot. The deposit. Um, and then the third thing is kind of the most important one, is when you're just starting out. I offer almost all my family and friends basically very heavily discounted detail to build a portfolio and get those pictures in. And that's how I got customers in too, because they got to see my work, they got to see before and after. And I'm not the only one, but I'm sure there's a lot of people's family members that are dirty. Give them a free detail.
Yeah, that's good. That's
Those
very good.
pictures from them are going to really hit, the goal for your before and after photos.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. That's a very interesting point too, in terms of the ongoing process that you use for all three of those components. I like to say here, like for my coaching clients, one, your best client is the most educated. Your best client is the most educated. So what does that mean from an action perspective? And again, I'm real good at talking strategy, 30,000 feet, and then I'm real good at like, boom, bringing out the landing gear. So I'm going to bring out the landing gear for a second for our listeners in terms of that. What are you doing at least once a week, if not once a day, to educate potential clients on the benefits of ceramic coating, the benefits of having a high-end detail on your interior, the potential health risks of having a dirty interior? I can go on and on, but the idea that, right, Spencer, in terms of what are you doing? What are all the listeners doing today to really educate the customer on? Because people aren't waking up. I mean, there's a 20%. There's 2 out of 10 people, and you know who they are, that wake up and go, man, I got to get my car detailed this weekend. But 8 out of 10 people are like, I'm just trying to get to the track meet. I'm trying to just take care of the kids. They ain't waking up thinking about they want a detail. So anything you can do in that social media profile, those posts that you're doing, to just trigger something in that person's mind about, never thought about the fact, I'm going to make this up. This is not a proven fact. I never thought about the fact that, 51% of the pollens in my vehicle are because it's in the seat. So anything you could do to educate the customer to plant a seed to go, I need to call Spencer to get an interior detail. It's not like you're saying, call me for an interior detail. You're educating them on the importance of why, keyword, why they need an interior detail, especially with health issues and some of in different parts of the country. There's different allergens and all that kind of crazy stuff. So anything else on that? Because that's a very interesting part of the conversation. First month,
So
what you did, And then, of course, you're still doing those things today. Anything else on that, buddy?
Yeah, so there's two things I've been doing and I'm still doing today. Number one is this is the best one I think, in my opinion, on the exterior side is go out there on a sunny day, find a car that's just terrible in surface scratches and swirls and stuff. You see all those rings around that sun. Take a picture of it. Don't take a picture of the person's license plate or anything. Make sure you get a zoom in where it's not noticeable or you're not calling out a customer. Just the picture of the swirls on a vehicle. Post it on your Facebook and say, hey, this is what the car wash is doing. Because even though you said 2 out of 9 people don't think about detail, but almost a third of the people that wakes up on American Day is a car wash. I need to get my car clean before I go to work because I want to look good arriving to work. Well, if you can show these people what car washes are doing to your exterior paint, that's a good way to educate them too. Say, hey, I know you want a car wash. It's bad and it's good for you. You look good, but this is what you're doing to your car. This is what we can do to offer to help and protect you, or even make it where it's easier to use a car wash. My number one thing I tell people is, you see these surface scratches? We can make it look like this. Get an after picture of a car you did last week or whatever, and then tell them, ways to help them protect or even stay better through a car wash. My number one thing is ceramic coating helps with the car wash. Yes, it's terrible to use that as a preaching goal or even an ad. But when you have a ceramic coating on the vehicle, it makes the rafts slide against your car smoother and safer. It doesn't grab and pull as hard. That's one way you can use a ceramic coating as an ad. Terrible to do that, but it is realistically facts. And then my second one is interior. Well, the number one thing is I like to preach about, and this is specifically speaking and on a science side, is in 24 hours, whatever fry or food that fell on the floor, think of this. In 24 hours, that food had already introduced 700 plus bacteria and viruses in your car.
Look at that. See, that's what I'm talking about, brother. You got my attention now.
One customer going inside your vehicle, just in another 24 hours, you already got 700 new friends.
Look at that.
That's my best way and that I actually use to really push out my interior detail. And I've gotten plenty of calls on that where I didn't think about that. I didn't think of how many bacteria and viruses I'm introducing after, a single fry or just a person stepping in my car. And it's like, oh yeah, because are you an Uber driver?
Oh boy.
Might as well just double that or triple.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, that would be concerning for sure.
It is very concerning. It's very alarming. I think that's what gets people a lot of attention too. It's like, well, now my car's dirty. I don't even want to touch it.
There you go.
I'll eat it, but we'll do it.
Man, that's good stuff. Well, again, thanks for sharing that tip for all of our listeners. That's pretty amazing because again, it just kind of reminds them that, hey, I didn't even realize that was the issue. And again, it goes back to kind of what I said a few minutes ago, educating the potential customer on the importance, or more importantly, by not moving forward, doing something. In this case, not having a deep clean interior detail like you're offering, what the risk of that is, right? So making sure they understand, and your job is just to make sure they understand that that's a challenge and make sure.
And there's plenty of more pointers too to really teach people, like window coating,
sure,
the constant cleaning of your brake pad, or not brake pads, but your calipers, get those clean with your iron decon. There's lots of things you can educate people, even on the smallest stuff, and those smallest things will get people to come through your door. Mm-hmm. And that's where you can either do the upsell or you can offer them, say, hey, I got a window coating, but let me just vacuum your car out for free.
Cool. All right. As we kind of wind down here, I got one more question, and then we're gonna let folks reach out to you and make sure they can reach you for the awesome work you're doing. But in all the years, I know this is another tough one, but if you had to pick one big win, WIN, one big win, that could be a client story. It could be something that, because of the great work you're doing in your detailing business, maybe something you were able to do with your family. Just one big win that you wanted to expand on. And again, this is more of the why. Like, why are you in the detailing business? Because it provides me fill in the blank. Tell me about one big win. You're like, oh my gosh, this is just crazy. Go ahead.
So I'm gonna put a big win and a bomb.
Okay.
This is the best way I can really put it out there because I mean I have many stories. I like to share them all, but I have many stories that I could put in one. And this is also on the educational side, everything. But here's my big one: is statistically speaking, you will get more money on your trade-in or the car you're selling through a dealership if it's clean first. So my big one is I've had preach heavily to all my clientele that hey, bring it to me before you sell a trade at a dealership. I will guarantee you will get revenue back. And I've had a dozen. I mean, more than I can count on my hands and my toes. They've all said this. They brought a car to me. I clean it very well from waxing, interior, maybe a quick polishing or buffing, whatever it is. I gave them the most simplest thing, amplify it, and they got their return. They got their investment back, and some even got more money back. Like the one particular person spent maybe a little over $800, got a buff, deep interior cleaning, engine, and then got our wax. She took it to the dealership. She got over $1,500 more than Kelly Blue Book value
Wow.
because the dealership saw how clean it was. So that's my big one.
Yeah, man, that is huge. Exactly. It goes back to look, not I won't use the word pay, but they invested $800 with you, let's say, and they ended up getting 1,600. Like how many times would you go to Vegas and put 800 down to get 1,600 back every time? Like I do that every day that ends in Y, right? So the
Yep.
same concept with you in terms of, hey, it's not a payment to you, it's an investment so you can get a better, trade-in value for your vehicle. So that's another great tip. All right, Spencer. So how can folks reach you? Like one or two ways that people can reach out to you to find you so you can provide that awesome service to them.
So just two ways. You can either do it by phone number. I don't know if I should tell my phone number on here, but you can find my
Or
phone
you
number
can, or you could send them to the website. And here's
or
why.
you can go to my
Because
website, which
remember, this
will
is
have all
this
my
is like
information.
this is like our mother said. When we put stuff out, it stays out there. So if you ever
Yep.
change your phone number, so let's do this. Let's use the website. Then if you change your phone number or something happens, they'll have the
And
latest number. So go ahead and give them the website.
website would be the second one to find me. It's www.detailingexpertsusa.com.
There you go. There you go. All right, good deal. Well, Spencer, man, I appreciate you jumping on again. One of my missions is to show folks, whether it's through the training programs we offer, or in this case, the podcast, how you can earn more so you can serve more. And you're certainly a living example of that. And again, just to close out this episode, I know this man is a strong family man because this morning on a Friday, he's running his business the right way because he was able to spend time with his kids at the track meet. So this business, even though it's called Big Money Detailer, we focus on the five F's, as I call them. We call them the five F's are these, man. And you've got all five working for you, brother. Number one, family, faith, obviously the financial piece, and then
Yep.
fitness and fun. And those five F's have to be combined together to make sure you're doing the right thing, not just for your business, but also for your family, your faith, and the other F's that we talked about. So with that, I'm Davey Tyberski, the founder of Big Money Detailer and also America's Chief Profit Officer. And Spencer's got one more thing.
I do one more thing. Anybody that wants to book with me, I'm gonna tell you this right now. Whatever you invest in me is what I'm gonna invest in you, guaranteed.
There you go. I love a guarantee, by the way. So that's it for this episode. Again, you can find out more info, more training, more free resources at bigmoneydetailer.com. Go and check us out there. And until next time, I'll see you soon. Bye bye.
Yeah.